What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Good Vibes with Garrett. Can't believe this is number 5, I think. Been doing this for a few weeks now, and I've really appreciated all the kind words from people who have been watching and the likes, and appreciate you all. So we're gonna keep making it. I guess you guys don't hate it, so this week I'm back with a story about another one about Papua New Guinea. I was thinking about doing another story, but this is by request from my dad. He's like, "Hey, do you remember this?" I'm like, "Oh, I remember. I was planning on talking about it," but he was pretty excited for me to eventually tell the story. So I'm sure I won't do it all justice, because let me tell you, it's been a while since I was in Papua New Guinea. I know I've mentioned that before. It was 2010 when I was there, so it's been quite a few years. But I'm going to tell a story about one time we went crocodile hunting. That's right. But first, let's kind of look at what I'm working on here. So I got some new products in the mail, Rust and Verdigris, from Dirty Down, that's the name of the company. And then I have this other paint, an old paint that I had, it's called Dry Rust from Army Painter. I guess I just wanted to kind of test and see what the difference is, because everyone that all the people I follow online swear by this Dirty Down Rust product, but I've had this Dry Rust effect paint for a long time, and I've never touched it before. So I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot and see. If it's no good, I'll throw it in a trash can. But I paint up a little piece of terrain with some metallics. It's very shiny right now, but the plan is to dull it down with some washes and stuff later. But I'm going to do some of the verdigris on these coppery colored, brass color pieces, the green verdigris, and then on the silver aluminum colored to do some of the rust. So I'm going to test it, have the Dirty Down Rust on one side, and I'll do the Army Painter on the other side and kind of compare notes. So we'll see how it goes. But so as I mentioned in a previous episode, I lived in Papua New Guinea for about a year and a half or so. And in that time, pardon the noise, the first 6 weeks we were there. Maybe not, I forget if it was, I don't think it was right away, but it's pretty soon after moving there. We spent 6 weeks living out in the jungle. I think I mentioned that last time, living out in like a tribe. With a tribe, we actually, learned some language and some of their culture and stuff like that. Just really like day to day got in there and just saw what life was like for them. They, obviously for certain foods and stuff like that, they got to go hunt for it. They want some meat, got to go get it. So they invited us to go crocodile hunting, which, if you've never done that, happens at night. And in the middle, like, in a river, in a canoe, as you would think. And it's just about the most, at least especially for your first time, new to this country, almost terrifying things you could ever do. But so it all started off, we jumped in the canoe. We're heading down river, and they strap a motor on the back. Normally, I don't know if they would obviously normally they wouldn't always use that. They typically would probably just paddle. But since we were in there and there was motors available from the other people who were living in the area, they asked to borrow it. So slap that bad boy on the back of the canoe. And actually, like nowadays too, like it's in a lot of the more remote locations, like they come out to civilization, like they live out in the jungle, but they come out every once in a while, and so they have access to some of these things. It's amazing. Like you'll see them with a cell phone. Like, they don't have anyone to talk to on the phone, but in the middle of a tribe, they have a cell phone. heading down the river in this canoe, and before we even got to crocodile hunting, we were just heading down in the still daytime out at this point, and they started like slowly creeping up. This one part of the river is an extremely wide part of the river, and they started to like slow down, and they were like peeking over the edge of the canoe, and I was like, what is happening? Like, it was just really hard to tell what was going on. And obviously, like, we barely know the language, which was crazy. We're going out in the middle of this gator-infested river with these people, and we don't even hardly know how to talk to them. Suddenly we're in the dead center of this huge river. It's a Sepik River, massive river. And all of a sudden they just start slapping the sides of the canoe with their big machetes and with their oar and stuff, and just making a bunch of racket. And around the canoe, probably a good like 20-foot diameter, like around the boat, which is pretty insane, just exploded into this just water just shooting up in the air. Absolutely insane. And come to find out, we had run up on a little sandbar in the middle of the river, and they had been watching and saw that there was fish in the water. Wow. So the next part, so they're jumping, these fish are just exploding, jumping out there. We spooked them, ran them up on a sandbar. They panicked when they started beating on the side of the canoe and freaking them out. Wow. All of a sudden, these fish, they're flying out, they're hitting us in the side of the head, they're bouncing into the canoe, they're like just everywhere. They're in your lap, they're under you. Like, it was absolutely insane. All of a sudden, these guys they're grabbing them out of the air, grabbing them out of the bottom of the canoe, and then that's whacking them with their bush knife. Boom, one hit, and they knew exactly where to hit. Totally like done. Like, that fish was out. They're dead. It was dead. And absolutely crazy. And I don't know how many we were able to catch, but they started showing us these fish. And so they call them. It's a type of. I think it's in the piranha family. I don't know exactly for sure. And I know there's an actual like English name for these fish, but they call them ball cutter fish. And I'll let you figure out in your own head why they call it the ball cutter fish. They basically, these fish have human teeth in their mouth. Absolutely insane. So yeah, this is how we like kick off this crocodile hunting trip, is by getting just exploded, bombarded by these piranhas jumping into the canoe, which is not something you would expect normally. That's not a normal occurrence when you're going out fishing. But yeah, absolutely insane. It like blew my mind. And then then we went ahead and so that was exciting. We were like, okay, how can we top that? Like, that was absolutely crazy. Like, we were just like in shock afterwards for the longest time, just how easy that was. Like, no net, no fishing rod, no nothing, and they're just like, oh, yep, okay, now we have bunch of food, tasty fish. So the night goes on, and it's dark, and we even stop at another tribe down the river, a neighboring tribe. If I remember right, we had some food. We even like sat in like a hut for a little bit and like rested until it got dark, because it wasn't really quite dark enough yet. It needs to be pitch black late, like dark. Finally it did. We got out there, and boy, what an eerie like feeling that is to be in the Sepik River, which is a pretty good sized river. Like, it's huge. It's a huge river. Look it up online. Like, it's a long river. It's a wide river. Like, it's a big river. It goes on for a long time. There's a lot going on. We're out there in the middle of the night, pitch black, And how you do crocodile hunting is you actually use a spotlight and shine it across the water. And then you'll see their eyes. And when you see the crocodile eyes, then you roll up on it and then get it with a spear, with a hook, with a bush knife, like whatever you got. Like you pull that sucker into the boat, basically. Yeah, we didn't really know much about the process until we were like there, which was probably a mistake on our part. We probably should have done a little more research. But yeah, we ended up getting, I want to say we got at least a couple of them. And boy, what an crazy experience. Yeah, they just grab a hold of that thing and whip it into the boat as fast as they can. And again, like they are precise. They know exactly what they're doing, and they just slam that thing down in the boat. And very quickly, like it's done, it's out, it's good, it's dead, and quick, painless, boom, and they have a meal. Yeah, we caught a couple of those, and again, like I think it was one of those things where it's really intense, like in the moment and stuff like that, but we never really had any like oh crap moments that other than those fish exploding, which was obviously a little nerve-wracking, but yeah, such a crazy thing. Oh, another thing that happened, I know I'm going a little long on this one, but I still haven't even started painting the verdigris, so I have a minute here. We were heading back and it's late. We have a couple crocodiles in in our canoe that we caught. We got a bunch of fish that we had caught earlier in the day, and we noticed like the engine started like sputtering and making some weird noises. We're like, uh-oh, like what's the deal? Like it should not, there wasn't anything wrong with the motor before. Like why is it dying on us now? We could not figure it out, and we're like, shoot, like are we stranded? Are we gonna be stranded here in the middle of the Sepik River? I mean, fortunately we were going downriver, because that's the other thing. When you're at night, when you're hunting, you have the engine cut off basically. Like you're just floating down the river. So we're floating down the river and could not figure out why the engine wasn't starting. Like everything, the choke, like check everything, throttle, everything was in its place where it should be. We seemed to have fuel, but that's when we realized that, wait, we have fuel, but we're really low. We're a lot lower than we should be. And also, what's wrong with the fuel tank? So what had happened is we picked up the fuel tank and it's completely like collapsed, caved in. And what we had realized, my dad had realized pretty quickly, is basically the guy who was running the motor, and had taken us downriver, he was sitting on the gas tank, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with sitting on the gas tank. But boy, it was hurting his butt real bad. It didn't feel very good having that big old gas cap in his butt. So what he goes and does is, he's gonna do what anyone would do and flip it over and make it a little more comfortable. He didn't want to feel a big old lump from the gas cap. So yeah, what had happened was it wasn't able to vent. Well, if you don't realize, a lot of gas caps will have like a little vent in it, so that way air can escape as it's getting sucked into the motor, and that kind of helps with this helps it siphon correctly into where it needs to go. And so when you turn it upside down, not only was air not able to replace the gas that was in the gas tank, gas goes in the engine, air goes into the tank. Well, instead, no air was going in, so it was collapsing, and a little bit of the gas was leaking. A lot of the gas was leaking into the canoe. I don't know how we didn't smell it, but yeah, basically the whole underside of the foot, the bottom of the canoe was full of gas. Like there's like a good like half inch or so at least of her, and it was a big canoe. It was a long canoe. There's a lot of gas and water. It could have been a bunch of other things. But either way, what we realized is all these fish have just been marinating, just sitting in that that gasoline for hours. Oh, man, it's so horrible. Yeah, it was one of those things where at the end, we finally made it back. We did make it back alive, obviously. We were offered some of the fish, and we're like, no, thank you, we're good. Like, we don't really want contaminated fish. And we told them, like, you shouldn't eat that, like, you can get sick. And they're like, no, it's fine. Like, they were just adamant, like, it's food, it's fine, it's not gonna hurt anyone. But man, yeah, what an experience. Boy, this one's going a little long. Sorry about that. It's fun. I feel like it's a pretty fun story. It's all right for me to go a little long here. Apologize. But no, yeah. So it was a crazy night. Crazy. We, catching piranhas with no fishing rod, sleeping in a hut in some random tribe upriver, then going and just the whole act of catching crocodiles was absolutely insane. And then, to top it all off, we basically marinated in gasoline for like the last few hours of our trip. So yeah, absolutely crazy. So yeah, a lot of fun times. Again, I'm sure I'm missing a lot of details in this story, but who knows? Maybe one day I'll get my dad on here or something and we can tell the full thing. But yeah, well, that about does it. So let's kind of take a look at what I've been doing. I'm sure you've all been watching here, but so the verdigris, you can see what's really nice about this stuff is water soluble. So like you can see, I put it on real thick on this edge and it dries like really. Oh, sorry, you guys are going to get sick from that. There's a bad reflection. It's hard to see, but it dries it dries thick, more opaque, which is pretty cool. And then, or you can just dab your paintbrush. What I was doing is dabbing the paintbrush in water and then just smudging it around, and then just gives it more like grimy look and aged look. So like I really like what it's done to this copper color. Again, it's kind of hard to tell just because everything's so shiny and reflective, but hopefully you can see that all right. And then this is the dirty down rust, and let me tell you, like it looks really close to real rust. I really like that. Like it looks so cool. And again, I don't know if you noticed, I dipped my paintbrush in the water and like just thinned out a few areas because it was really heavy at first, and then like thinned out some of like the spots where people might walk and kept it heavy and like the cracks. I like that. Here's the army painter. This one, it does leave like more a dry effect. Like it's a different kind of rust. This is like a wet, grungy rust. Old rust. This thing's been here a long time. This is like a dry, like rust. Like it reminds me of like obviously like it's dry. It's not grimy and gross. It's like, oh, it's kind of it's fresh, dry rust just on the surface. So I think they both have their place, honestly. Like I don't know if one's better than the other. Like I actually think that they both have a purpose there, and I'm excited to try those out. So all right. Well, thank you all for sticking around this extra long Good Vibes with Garrett. And appreciate you. If you have any other, questions, topics, stories, whatever that you'd be interested in, if you're like, hey, have you ever done X, Y, or Z or anything? Like if I haven't, then I'll just say, no, I haven't, sorry. But if I have something like, yeah, I'll talk about it. Or if you have questions about whatever, some of the stories I've asked, then let me know, and maybe we can chat about it in a later episode. So be sure to check out the podcast Super Gamer Boys. Make sure to follow me over on social media at @Morlang. Follow the podcast at Super Gamer Boys, and we'll catch you all later. Have a good one.